Hello, no girlies. So today we are going to be taking off this lovely set. It has not grown out a lot. It's only been a week, but my new stuff from Apres comes in the mail tomorrow. So I thought it'd be a great idea to take these off before I show you how I do my nails. Because the soak off process is not hard, but it is very important that you do it correctly before you put on another set. So here is my tools. These are my most used tools. I leave them in here so it's easier for me to soak them in Barbicide once a week or once a set, how often I do them. So I have cuticle pushers. I have my tip cutters. Let's see, I've got cuticle nippers. I've got all my bits that I use to take off the nails or to file the nails. This is my mandrel bit that I put the sanding bands on. So this is my handy dandy everything I always use box. So it has base gels, the same base colors I use. It has random files, cuticle oils, little tools and things like that. That's my trash can, and this is the master of the show. This is the light, and this is the drill. So it doesn't have a bit in it because I just cleaned them. Voila. These are my gloves that I use so I don't burn my hands while I'm putting them in the light. And this is the corner with all of the products. So taking off your nails isn't a really difficult thing. It just, you don't want to do it wrong. You don't want to burn yourself while you're filing your nails down, and you don't want to soak it off for a little bit less time than you need to, because then you have to file more, and no one wants to file more. Filing is annoying. And so we have foil. We have our basic cotton rounds, and we have our scissors. So you cut your cotton rounds in two, and you only need 5 cotton rounds because you cut them in 2. You got 10 fingers, and voila. So we're going to go through that process now. I'm super excited about it. So we take our mandrel bit because we want to file off as much of this product as possible. If you're keeping your length, then you need to only file or cut down to your natural nail. So my natural nail is not even anywhere near here, so I can just literally cut off the whole amount of length. So my tip cutter actually has a sizer. So when I want to cut down longer tips to a certain size and have all my nails at the same size, then I would use this. But since I don't care what size it is because I'm cutting off all the length, I'll go to the lowest one, or I might take it off altogether, depending on how short the nails are. So these usually come with a plastic piece to catch the nails. Of course, I lost it, so I have to be really careful or the nails will fly across the room. And since I clean my room every week, I find nails all around my room every single week. So just cut off the length and no problemo. Hold down the nail so it doesn't fly. And don't cut too close to your actual free edge so you're not in a terrible lot of pain if you cut down too far. Put this back in the drawer it came out of. And we're going to get, so we have our mandrel bit on there, and we're going to go to the handy dandy drawer on my right, and we're going to find a lovely little baggie of sanding bands. Always use a new sanding band. I know it's my skin, but you don't know what kind of microbes your skin has from day to day. So you don't want to reuse a sanding band. If you need sanding bands, they're like $5 a bag of 100 on Amazon. So the filing the nail off process, I go kind of high because I know what I'm doing. So it doesn't take me that long. I don't like it to take me super, super long because I'd rather have the time to put my nails on. You want to know what direction you're putting your drill when you're doing it. That way you have the best control over the drill. So I use the sanding band simply to take off the top layer. If there's the gel or a design or anything like that, nice and easy. Just go left and right, left and right. Never stay in the same place too long. You'd hate to get a burn because this does go really fast and it causes friction. So once you get down to your actual nail bed or lower than the gel. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see that there's no top coat on this one and there's top coat on these because I've already sanded them down. So when you do that, it's easier to get to the product after you've taken off the top coat. And if you don't have a mandrel bit or sanding bands, you can always use a fine bit. So let me turn this off and I'll switch to a fine bit. So a fine bit has the red on it. Put it in and back on. And you can hear it makes a completely different sound from the mandrel bit, from the sanding band. This is not as coarse as I go. I normally go really coarse and really fast because I like to save time, and I also am confident in the way that I use my drill. Of course, if you're not confident in the way you use your drill, you should always definitely go slow, and you should always go in small pieces and not try to do bulk product, and don't use too high of a speed or too high of a bit coarseness. Like if you don't go all the way to coarse if you're not prepared to get burned, if you don't know what you're doing. So the fine bit is not going to take off the product as fast as I want it to be taken off, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to take it off. But you can still see how high that is. It's a lot of product on there still. The whole nail is still on there. So you want to be able to take that off with relative speed. That way you're not sitting here for decades and eons. So I have a coarse bit. See the teeth on that bad boy. And that's what I use to get down the product. It goes really fast. And sometimes I use my hand to move. And sometimes I move. It's always important to know which products you put on your nails when you're taking them off, because you might think you have a lot of product on and you don't, or the product's thinner than you thought it was, and you get down to the nitty-gritty and you burn yourself. So with a color like this, it's a nice nude color. It blends in really well with your natural nail. You don't want to mistake the extension for your natural nail. So I'm only going to do one hand for you guys on camera, just so it's not a tremendously long video. After I get to a certain area on my filing with the drill, I go in with my really coarse 80 grit. So the lower the grit number, the rougher it is. I go in with my 80 grit. So I want to keep some of my length. So my actual nail length is definitely at least that long. If you can see that, it's at least that long. So you want to stop where you know your natural nail would be. And you want to thin it out as much as possible. If you have color on there, you want to make sure you don't see any color. My nail extension color is actually a color. So I want to thin it out as much as possible before I start with the acetone. And I can see my natural nail under there. That's how thin I've already done it. You can see a little bit of it flaking away. I get really close to my cuticles. And this all has to do with practice and being confident in and knowing where your cuticles are and how much your body can actually take, because getting close to the cuticles does cause a little friction. So now let's get to the important part where we cut up these rounds and soak off these nails. So like I said, you only need 5 rounds because you only need to slice them in 2. Slice them in 2. And I soak mine off for the duration of the happiness of my heart. I'm normally watching a video at this point. I'm watching a movie or listening to music or something like that. I have something else to do. So I have these clips to keep them on, even though I do use the foil. So when I do just the one hand, like I'm gonna do now for you guys, I'll show you. So this foil, I have a whole roll of foil designated for nails. And you just tear off a piece in a nice square. That's gonna wrap around your nail. You tear off how many of your nails you actually have nails on, because I know some of us lose nails before it's time to take them off. So if you lose a nail, you don't have to soak it off unless you still have product on your nail, like the base coat. That's that 4, okay, and 5. Just put that foil over there. Acetone. Acetone. This big thing is clunky and in the way, so I pour it in here to make, because I have a nozzle. So easy peasy lemon squeezy. Always set up my rounds. Most of the time I have them all the same size, because I don't want one nail not to get as much love if I forget the size. So if you see a smaller size, okay, well, let me use that for my pinky and not my thumb. It will make more sense. Yes, yes. So you soak this bad boy, okay? I mean, drown that hoe on top. The thumb is always the hardest to do because it's in a weird area. It's like not on the flat side of your hand. It's like on that. So I always put it down like this before, and even I still have problems with doing that activity. So over, then under, and then you still have this side here and under. And you squeeze, 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 keep it closed. And these clamps really help with that process of keeping it closed and keeping the acetone touching your nail and soaking into your nail. So I do that on all 10 of my fingers. And I am going to come back after. I'm going to have to snip in another part because I have no inclination of keeping you waiting for 20 minutes while I wait for this to soak into my nails and get nice and soft and gummy. But once that does happen, I will be back. So always put it at the most edge of your finger so you don't get so much acetone on your skin, because acetone is really, really drying. It's super annoying. So a lot of people, what they do is they put a oil of some sort. They can put cuticle oil, coconut oil, however, on their actual finger. So it's my finger and I'm barely putting it right here. That way I still have something to hold on to, like it's still holding on to my finger, but at the same time, it's not completely soaking into my skin, drying out my good cuticles. So, and last but not least, the pinky finger. Okay. And if you don't have these little clamps, that's fine. You don't need them. But I like to go extra because clearly you can say they say a pray. They don't need to say a pray. You can get them on Amazon. Like, bro, I'm just extra for no reason. So while these soak off, I'm going to watch a movie or a scene from a movie, however the hell I feel like, and I will be back. This is going to be I don't know how to say that word because I don't do videos, but I'm doing this for you. You, and you, and you. Okay? I'll be right back. Okay. So I edited the other 2 videos and tried to stitch them together. So I think that took a fair amount of time. My desk has nail shavings all over it. I really don't clean my desk off until I've taken all my nails off, because it's just going to be a bunch of cleaning and then a bunch of dirtying and a bunch of cleaning. So it's going to have nail dust on it until my nails are completely off. So one by one, I take them off. A perfectly good cuticle pusher will definitely be your friend, okay? So I have a soft, round edge cuticle pusher, and then I have a really coarse, sharp edge cuticle pusher. So you take off, and at this point, everything should be nice and gummy. You should be able to just flick it off, nice and crusty. So nice and crusty, flaky, or gummy. See, it just comes off with the ease. You shouldn't be actually digging into your nail bed because you can create a hole in your nail. I've done it multiple times to where you can't put your nails back on a new set because you just stabbed a hole into your nail. Your nail hasn't had oxygen this whole time, so your nail's really, really soft once you take off an extension. And you want to be nice to your nail. And the acetone, like I said, is really drying. It softens out the nail to be able to create the ability to scrape off the product. So now that that's all off, it's all naked, it's all flat like it's supposed to be, like a regular nail. And you just do that process to all of your nails. If you notice that it takes a little bit to scrape off some of the product, you might need to soak it a little more. Me, I know exactly how long to soak it. And if you don't file down far enough, of course you'll have to soak it more. So that's why I say filing is important, because if you have to continue to soak, continue to file, continue to soak, it's just going to be a long, tedious process. So if you do everything real nice and swift to begin with, you won't have to go back and do any steps. So you always want to get around that cuticle, scrape off all that crap around that cuticle. Once we're finished taking off all the nails, we are actually going to go in with a hand file and see if we have any residual. If we don't, then we can go in with the cuticle remover and start some nail prep. You should always do nail prep before and after a set. I am doing some maintenance because I'm going to be doing my nails tomorrow anyway, so I really don't have too much of a problem tomorrow, and it won't take me that long to set up my nails because I'm doing it tonight. So if you ever get the chance to like do a nail prep, it's always important, and then you save time on actually doing your nails. So what I recommend is doing this with a soft cuticle pusher, because this hard one, I can definitely feel it poking, and as a beginner you may not understand what that poking means. That means your nail bed is being affected. That means your nail bed is being touched. You don't want that. So these are all nice and off, and it just comes off real nice and flaky. Let's get up real close on that. Yummies. Get all that off real nice. And depending on how you put your nails on, there might be some gel underneath. So that's done. And we do not want to use a 80 grit file on our natural nail. That is a no-no. So 180 is like super, super high. That's really, really not coarse at all. So some of these come with 2 sides. You want to use the less coarse side. You can clearly feel the less coarse side. So this is the pink side. It's going to be a less coarse side for this one. And this is now your natural nail. You want to get around that cuticle. You want to flatten out any of these surfaces that may or may not have any product on it. You want to shape your nail to what your desired nail is. If you're not growing out your nail, I guess you wouldn't really care what your actual nail shape is. But I'm growing out my nails, or trying to at least. So I'm going to get up into these cuticles and get all any bitty nasties out. Shouldn't take that long if you soaked everything off correctly. All you'd have to be doing right now is shaping your nails and making sure there's no gel in your cuticles. When we go to the cuticle remover, that is the fun stuff. That acid, which is cuticle remover, I'm not 100,000% sure what that's even made of, but you will see all of the dead skin on your nail bed just slough off. So if you don't get anything off your nail during this process, you will definitely get it off your nail with the cuticle remover. And I see that I cut a little too low on this finger because it's not as long as the other ones. See how long that one is and that one is, and this one's a little shorter because I cut a little too low when I was taking off my nail extension. So sometimes you can see your nail under there and sometimes you can't. So that's another thing. If you're growing your nails out, you want to keep an eye on your nails. Okay. And you don't want to file too low to where you can feel your nails being burned. Even by hand, you can burn your nails. So here goes cuticle remover. You can get cuticle remover from beauty supply stores. You can get it from Target, Walmart, anywhere. They have a bunch of different names for them. Sally Hansen has a really good one I see everybody using, so that's always wonderful. Just scoop all of this debris to the side. So once it gets into a nice little clump, you could just push it into the trash bin. Booyah. Okay, and I like to have a mat of some sort down because I don't want to get the cuticle remover on my table. So I just put it on my nail and let it sit there. If I'm doing both hands, I'll do one hand and put it on the other hand at the same time. And while I'm finishing, put it on this hand, I will go scrubbing with this hand while this hand sits. So it doesn't take long for it to soak into your nails. And once it does, you can see all of the yuckies coming from under it because it's killing all that. It's not so much killing it, it's removing it, it's loosening it up. So once it's loose, you can see all of the skin that was still attached to your nail bed. Your cuticle, your nail bed, everything grows so seamlessly. You don't even notice until it's time to take it off. And you're like, ew, that's gross. And it kind of is. It gets all gunky in there. And you're like, is that my nail? Yes, honey, that's your nail. So all that lovely dead skin. So it's nice and crusty in there. And if you ever get to a nail that's been dried out already, you can just add more to it. Like, oh, I waited too long. Add more to it. It's fine. Don't be shy with the nail cuticle remover. So I'm going to show you what the side of my cuticle looks like after you take it around your cuticle. There is all of that. You see that? That's disgusting. That is cuticle. That is dead skin. That was on your nail bed. That was on you. So get all that off. If you don't get your the skin off your nails, when you go to put a new set on, the skin on your nails will not allow the gel to adhere to your hand. So it's going to pop off immediately. Like, maybe it'll last a day or two, but as soon as it gets any kind of good dink, it's gone. Okay, there's no holding it on because you've got skin there keeping your extension away from your actual nail. You don't want anything between your actual nail and the extension. So you want primer, you want base gel, you want extend gel, and then you want your extension. But if you've got skin still on your nail plate, it's not going to work. So you want to scrape off all of that skin, and you want to make sure your nails are nice and dry when you start your process to do your nails, because the oils that come from your skin, like, oh, I just filed my nails yesterday, but your nails create oil every single day. Every day your nails creating oil. Every moment your body is creating any kind of activity, substances that should not be in the way of your nail extension. So I can do this today and still need to at least buff my nails tomorrow. So once you get off all the cuticle or all that dead skin off your nail plate, you can clearly see where it's at. My nails grow really, really fast because I use my hands at work. So it's a lot. Like, if I can go about 4 weeks between sets. I don't, but if I wanted to, I could. And I've gone 3 weeks, and I've seen the amount of cuticle that I've had to take off my nail, and it is heart-wrenching. So a lot of people don't like using nippers, and I completely understand that. So I have nippers, and I have the slider one. For those who don't like using nippers, they can use the slider one. And for those who don't even like taking off or clipping off their cuticles, that's also fine. But I'm a cuticle nipper, and you can see there's little pieces of skin, like right here and right here on your, like, if you see a little like pieces of skin, you should always get that off of your nail plate, because sometimes it's just on there. Okay, that's where it wants to be, and that's where it's going to stay until you evict it. And if you don't know how to use nippers, don't use them, because they will nip you. They will take everything that they want to take off of you, even if you didn't think that you wanted it off. So, a lot of people say don't snip your cuticles off because they are the protectant between your actual body and your nails. And I understand that. So I don't take off my cuticle. I just take off the under end of what's under. Like, if you go under, you push back, and you go under there, push it back and you go under, you can see that there's livelihoods under there. There's stuff under there that you wouldn't want keeping you from your nail extension. It should just be you and your nail extension. That's the relationship you want to be in. You and your nail extension. Not you, your dead skin, your oils, the debris that you forgot to dust off your nails, and then your nail extension. All those things are going to keep you from having a seamless time with your nails. It might go on really nicely, like, oh my God, it looks so pretty. Next thing you know, why did it pop off? Because your prep was not good enough. So normally I do this right before I put on a set, but since my set's going to be here in the morning and I didn't want to take a lot of time tomorrow because I have other things to do, I'm doing it now. And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So it looks a little dry and a little crusty, and that's okay, because you can see it all in the nipper. You just get all these corners off, any kind of loose skin, and you just have to know what your nail is supposed to look like and what it's not supposed to look like after you do your nails. I have cuticle oil, and even though it's counterproductive because I'm going to have to file it all off in the morning, you want to put cuticle oil to replenish the oils that you just dried your nails out with this cuticle remover and with the acetone. So once you get it to where it looks presentable, like for tomorrow, like if you were to do your nails right now, would your nails look presentable? That's what your thought process should be. So I'm gonna take some alcohol on my scrubber brush, and I'm gonna scrub all that dead skin off of there. all the debris off of there. And then you should always wash your hands. But since I still have this other hand to do, I'm not going to wash my hands right now because we're going to get off of here and do the other hand. There might be stuff under your nail. Definitely get that. Oh, dear Lord. Definitely get that from the underside of your nail. You don't want that under there, even though you're going to go wash your hands and it most likely is going to come off. Look at that. There's something like literally attached to the underside of my nail. And it's attached to my actual nail, and I think it's nail. So get your nippers out and snip that bad boy off of there. It was hanging and it was gross. So like I said, you want to make sure that your hand looks presentable. Like if you were to do it right now, would you be able to say, hey, look at my nails? Would you want to show anybody like, hey, look real close? Like, no, some people say, don't look too close. You want to be able to put your hand in someone's face and be like, look at my cuticles, they're fucking boss. Okay? So that is where prep comes in. That is where prep comes in. And you can put cuticle at this juncture. I'm going to go a little above and beyond because it's who I am and what I do. But you can put cuticle oil on at this part, or you can put your NuSet on. I'm going to put cuticle oil on and do my other hand because when the morning comes, I'm going to be super excited to open my new package. I can't wait. I'm going to have an unboxing with you guys. Oh my G, oh my G. I literally have like 5 of these sets already, but I ordered some other stuff. So, and they had a new launch. So I was like super excited about the new launch and the new stuff that they got. So I love Apres. I get a lot of stuff on Amazon too. So I'm not super bougie, but at the same time, Apres is boss. There are certain things that I will not get from Apres because they're just like way overpriced, but Apres only has certain things, and those certain things you have to get from Apres. They really made themselves a conglomerate. Okay, these cuticles are looking tip-top. And I make my own cuticle oil. I just don't have any made right now, so I'm going in with some store-bought, and we're gonna show everybody your sexy cuticles. Nice and flush. Yeah, that's nice. I love it. You sexy. So there goes that.